Monique, welcome. Thank you so much for accepting the invite and being here on the show. Your time is very much appreciated, and I feel very grateful for you.
Thank you. I'm the one thanking for the invitation. Really, it's
You're
such an
most
honor.
welcome.
Like, who am I?
We're about to know. So, the first question, Monique, just please give us your backstory. Who is Monique? Introduce
Oh
yourself,
my God.
and what do you do?
Okay. So, I'm a physiotherapist from Brazil. And why did I study physiotherapy back in the days? Well, I was always a sporty kid. So I started some activities, dancing ballet, like every girl who was 4 years old, and
Mhm.
then building up with other activities too, like volleyball, football, other types of dance, some Brazilian dance, and
Mhm.
also um, I did capoeira as well, which is a Brazilian martial arts. And at the age of 15, I started the gym, and now I'm 37 and I'm still at the gym. Yeah,
That's a long
so
time being in the gym.
yeah, let's say. I love it. So from the first day onwards, it can be very boring for some some people, like most of the people, but it's so not boring for me. I love it too much. And I wanted to do physical education, honestly, but my dad is kind of, no, you should be a doctor. These this generation back in the days, they're like, you're either a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. And it was like,
Or an engineer, don't forget.
yeah. And actually, I forgot the name of the test. I did some tests at school, just to find which profession I should fit in, best.
Mhm.
Um, and it ended up coming physiotherapy. I was like, what's that? And it was good actually because it went, let's call it, in between physical education and medical school, if I can
Mhm.
do this comparison. But anyway, so it was great because actually these days, I'm very grateful for that because I really love what I do so much that I don't see myself doing anything else in the whole world. And yeah, so even being an active person from, let's say, not day one, but from 4 years old until forever, because I don't ever plan to stop. If I'm 110 years old, you're gonna see me squatting.
I love
That's
it.
for sure. So yeah, I started physiotherapy and I have no regrets whatsoever. I love what I do, and I love to work with people, and I love to help them life quality and to achieve their own goals, to treat them as human beings, Of course, we need to see beyond the physiotherapy all the time
Mhm.
because it's a person that I'm treating. It's not a knee or a lower back. So that's the interesting part of being a physio. And I also became a personal trainer, um, because actually I love it so much that I ended up going on not physio, um, personal trainer training because I was like,
Mhm.
okay, so what else can I add? And of course, I'm a Pilates instructor since I graduated in university. So
Yeah.
the movements and the sports are always there since back in the days, like a very long time ago. And I really don't see myself not working with movement. I really don't see myself working behind a desk. That's really not me.
Mhm.
So yeah. that's pretty much me. So I love what I do too much to stop.
Love it. Monique, let's start with physio.
Okay.
What is physiotherapy? Is it like a tool which you use only to treat injuries, or can we use it as a tool to enhance performance? What do you think? Where does it fit in an athlete sport life, let's say?
Yes, I can. Um, if I'm thinking too much biomechanics, which I love biomechanics, but it's been
Hmm.
proved that we should not stick and only look to biomechanics. We need to see, as I said before, the whole individual. So who is this person? What is her goal?
Hmm.
Is just to carry her baby in her arms without the back pain, or
Hmm.
she wants to go back playing rugby. So there's a difference in
Hmm.
between these kind of patients, of course, and that's why I say we need to treat the individual and not use the same tool for everyone, you know. How can I do that with performance? Actually, also being a personal trainer opened my mind a lot to work with active people and to get them back to performing whatever they want to do um, better. So, for example,
Hmm.
I mostly treat people that are active, let's say like me, but they
Hmm.
work behind the desk, you know. They're
I see.
office jobs, desk jobs, people, patients that I have. And um 4, 5, 6 times a week, let's say, they do some kind of activity. So what kind of activity? I don't know. CrossFit, strength training, or rugby, or paddle, or etc. etc. Um, so I would get these people back to the modality that they want to do. So for example, if they're lacking on um, let's say balance, I could focus on balance with them. If they're lacking
Hmm.
on some um, I think for that movement, for example, to throw a ball or something, we should work on the movement as well. So being
I
a
see.
physio, I'm focused more on the function, and the PT brain is thinking muscle, which muscle should I work on to achieve
Uh-huh.
this kind. Yeah, it's nonstop. So it's because having these brains together, it's together in the same head, one can be fighting with the other one. So are you doing function, like rehabilitating function, or you just want this guy to get stronger in the quads, you know?
Mhm.
So this is when it comes. So this is really interesting because there is always one answer that I really love, which is it depends.
Oh,
It
yes.
depends.
That's the
Yes.
safety net.
So, for example, it's been told that deadlifts are really probably the best exercise for overall strength and rehabilitation and lower back pain, etc., etc.
Mhm.
Is it for everybody anytime? It depends, you know. So it really depends because in medical, in physiotherapy, we cannot say 2 plus 2 equals 4. There's no such thing. So it's really the individual. Is it the mother with the baby and the lower back pain the same as the rugby player?
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's completely different. So different treatments, different approaches, and also even the talk will be different with these kind of patients as well. Some patients I have to pull them and slow them down. like don't do too much of activity. And some others, I'm like grabbing their hands and let's go for a walk, because otherwise they won't do a thing. So yeah, it's really finding the balance between, okay, do I do rehabilitation, like I'm thinking function, or I'm
Mhm.
thinking quads, let's say,
Uh,
strengthening performance, something specific, you know. So there's a fight in my head, almost
speaking of
non-stop.
which, speaking of which, man, you told me that sometimes you have to like slow down with someone who's very enthusiastic and overactive.
Yes.
Do you believe in overtraining? Do you think that the body usually reaches a point where it cannot recover on the same level as a training on?
Yes, I believe in that. It's very hard to actually achieve overtraining as being a, let's say, ordinary person with a desk job and doing activities, let's say 6 times a week. It's
Mhm.
hard, but it can be, because these people, they're not athletes. They're not
Mm.
paid to sleep, eat well, stick to the diet, train hard and recover and sleep well and repeat.
I
They're
see.
not paid for that. So they want to leave as an athlete. They have to have this tough routine. They want to have this tough training. They want to go um, heavy and tough with themselves, but at the same time, come on, there's a 9 to 5 waiting for you the next day, you know?
Yes.
So there's also stress. We have to put everything on the same plate. So there's stress, there is family, there is a normal life, there is social life, there is a boss, there is a meeting,
Yes.
there is there are some things that you need to deliver at your work.
Mhm.
And oh, but I need to work out or do whatever kind of activity to really switch off a bit the brain to distress. But actually, your body, the physical, is not really resting at all. You can be
Mm.
resting your mind, but you're not resting your body. So, um, getting this, with that being said, we can also correlate that kind of scenario to most likely to lead to injuries,
Mhm.
because actually injuries, they're not like, oh, because he did a wrong movement. This is when, again, between brackets, my physio brain is fighting with my personal trainer brain, because it doesn't mean that a wrong movement in the gym, for example, which is where I go every day, and I see things that this world would not be proud to see. So
Like I feel sorry for my eyes to see.
yeah, so um, I kind of lost my track. Oh my God. I'm the
It's okay.
master
You
of
were talking
losing the
about
track.
the injuries, and that sometimes like it's not only because it's about recovery and
Yes.
how does usually injury come?
Yes. So, my physio brain and the PT brain.
Yes.
Okay. So for the physio brain, it doesn't matter if he is squatting and really bending the back too much or caving in
Mhm.
the knees. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean that is going to lead to an injury. It doesn't mean.
Okay.
But on the other hand, the PT brain is like, look at that. That's not okay. you know? And me, as being such a perfectionist, and I love biomechanics, um, I'm like, okay, I'll just do my thing. And so injuries, they're all in this scenario. So the guy is tired. He is stressed with work. Um, Working out like a crazy man, you know, increasing all the loading. What else? Not giving enough rest because he's using the exercises to switch off the brain a bit from the stress at
Mm,
work. But at the same time, do you see it's a vicious cycle. It doesn't
yes,
finish.
yes.
It doesn't end. So, I'm afraid to call it overtraining because it's actually under resting because he's
Mm,
tired from, the personal professional life and he's using training as a therapy, but actually at the end of the day is too much going on. So we need to look
mm,
for all these details together and consider everything, even the food. Is it good quality of nutrition? Is it um, enough, let's say, enough hydration?
mhm.
It's so much to consider that, oh, what causes knee injuries or knee pain? I would give a lecture here. It's so many possibilities. We cannot, okay, so this is the cause for, you know, we can't. And again, I'll go back um, to saying that we are individuals. We are, let's say, biological. We're biology. We're not 2 + 2 = 4. Does it mean that this stressed, tired guy will get injured for sure? No. It's really, it's really crazy because some people can develop injury and some
Mm,
others might not develop. So there is no guarantee that a wrong movement will hurt you. There's no
sure.
guarantee that probably under resting, if it's a long time under resting, you might have some problems there.
Mhm.
But again, there's no 2 + 2 = 4. It's really hard to say. This is
Speaking
why
of
I
which,
love. Tell me.
speaking of which, I know people who, when you look at them, for example, as you mentioned, they do the movement, and in theory, it's not mechanically perfect,
Hmm.
and you can spot like many flaws in it, and they survive it many
Yeah,
times. On the other
thank
hand,
you.
I see people where they lift like little weights,
Hmm.
and then injury comes like this.
Yeah.
So, one more thing as well. I was reading about, do you know sometimes people have this pain or chronic pain around the neck and rhomboids area?
Hmm.
I was reading about it. They were saying that most of the time, it's not only because it might be tight, but however, there's a nerve over there that gets triggered when you are stressed.
Yeah.
So, stress levels also can give you this illusion of pain and
Yeah.
fatigue that is going to affect you in training as well.
Yes. 100%. I agree. I agree 100%. I see, for example, um, according to my experience in my
Mhm,
routine as being a physio, what I see in the clinic, for example, is someone comes to me and whatever kind of pain,
mhm,
you shoulder pain, I don't know. Okay, so let's test this. Okay, testing this, testing joints, testing tendons, testing nerves, all the traditional, let's say, shoulder tests, and
mhm,
also we include the neck in the shoulder. Um, and I could not find a good connection in between the tests. So it's kind of inconclusive. It doesn't leave me,
mhm.
oh yeah, it makes sense,
I
because
see.
most of the time, the majority of the people, I see that with the tests and with the medical report as well, and the history that the person is telling me, which is honestly the most important.
Hmm.
Um, it doesn't it doesn't match. So I'm like, what is going on actually?
Hmm.
It's so much stress that we really need to consider that. And then I'm back again. We're individuals. We're not a neck or we're not a shoulder. Everyone um, deals with something in a different way.
Hmm.
And probably we will never know what goes behind the curtains with this person, what kind of stress actually she's going through or he's going through. If she thinks she is sleeping well and enough, but actually she's not, because we also have this misconception of, oh yes, I'm sleeping well, it's 8 hours a night. But
Uh-huh.
how is the quality of the sleep? You know, is it eight
Yes.
hours enough for this person? Because I know some people, it's minimum nine, and I know some other people, 6 hours is enough. They're okay.
True.
So it's really crazy. It's really crazy. That's why I love this so much because literally everyone is different. Nobody's the same, and we have to treat them according to what they present to us. And
Hmm.
above all, the history of the person, like what she or he tells me, is way more important than the imaging reports. You
How
know,
so?
the MRI and sorry, I missed you.
Like, why is the history very important in this scenario?
Yeah. So, because sometimes you might see an imaging report saying, oh, there is this degeneration in the cartilage, there is this tendon inflammation. There, I will, by the way, use a lot of easy words here because I like to be understood,
Sure.
okay?
Yeah,
By
yeah, that's wonderful.
anyone and everyone. I love that, to be understood by anyone and everyone. So
Yeah.
there is this inflammation in the shoulder tendon, in the tendon, a specific tendon. There is this um, thingy in the shoulder. I'm even calling bursa a thingy. uh, there's this inflammation here. There's this inflammation there. There's this injury here. Blah blah blah. A list of things, and I would say, oh my god, poor thing. How is this girl dealing with such, you know, injury in the shoulder? And then she comes, yeah,
Yeah.
life is good. I just feel like I need to strengthen a bit because my upper body was always weaker than my lower body, blah blah
Mm.
blah, and that's it. So I'm like, I'm treating the person again, you know. I'm not actually treating the reports. And on the other hand, also happens the opposite when the person is in severe pain. She doesn't
Mhm.
move the arm. She's carrying the arm like a baby. It's too painful. She cannot move. She already has the trapezius muscle, which is this muscle from the neck to the shoulder,
Mhm.
very tight. And she's very, let's say, hypersensitive with that. Like severe case, the MRI is saying one thingy in the tendon. And I'm like, I need to treat this person. Just say, muscle spasm. Okay. So there's not a lot to look up in the report,
Mhm.
but there's a person here in my room that is in severe pain, you know? So do
Mhm.
I treat the MRI, just a tendon, just a muscle spasm, or the person in severe pain that is almost crying in front of me, you know? So it's
Yeah, like the
really
symptoms and
like
the
that.
person in front of you
Yeah,
does not represent what's in the report, in a sense.
exactly. 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 That's very
I see.
interesting.
Like, I
So,
mean, you see that, heavily actually, because like sometimes, as you mentioned, people come to you in paper, in theory, they have like many problems. However, they are able to live with it and operate normally, and vice versa.
Yeah,
So, like looking at this holistically as an individual as a whole is like the more accurate approach to treating this as a target on, in a sense.
yeah, exactly.
Lovely. Now,
So,
let's jump a little bit into Pilates.
yeah, sure.
Tell me, what is it basically? How do you use it alongside physio, personal training? Where does it fit in this equation, basically?
Okay. So, as I said before, the physio brain and the PT brain are constantly having fights. The Pilates, honestly, is kind of in between saying, just wait. Can you just calm down a bit, you two? It's like that because um, I use a lot the the Pilates a lot with a lot of my patients, a lot with a lot of cases that I have in the clinic, for example.
Mhm,
And I also use Pilates with clients outside of the clinic, but let's say like for fitness
mhm,
as well. So it's really in between. What I like, I use Pilates as a tool. So it's one of the tools that I have in my bag as a physio. Okay.
mhm,
And as I like to treat the individual, I see that this exercise from the Pilates makes sense to her. And I
mhm,
think she's gonna like it because also I prefer my patient to like the exercise that I prescribe them, let's say
mhm.
as a homework. Okay,
I
so they
see.
have to like it because if they hate it, they're gonna adapt the exercise
Mhm,
in not the best functional way that I thought for them, or they might not do it, or and actually having a homework, it's
mhm,
their me time to think, no, this is my me time and this is me taking care of myself. So it also has a meaning behind it. It's not like, oh, this exercise will treat you, you just do it and that's it. It's so much involved. So it's so much to think and to consider. It's not really as simple and shallow as it looks.
mhm,
Um, for example, when they skip a day or two or three or the whole week of let's say the homework exercise, I'm like, okay, so what do you like to do? Tell me. Let's talk. You know.
mhm.
And there's also this psychology behind everything. We need to consider that and to be compassionate. Also, oh, I'm going through such a hard time in my life, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think would suit you now? Tell me. And then what I like to do as well is the person chooses within these options, you choose your exercise and you give a name to this exercise because sometimes it's so much about function
Mhm,
that there's no name, like a technical name for the exercise because it's
mhm,
movement, it's function. So I'm like, okay, so give a nickname to this exercise. That's your exercise, you know? And I think I lost my track again. So, okay, so why Pilates? Okay, so it's exactly in between. So I use with my patients and I
mhm.
also use for fitness, let's say, as an exercise.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Um, I don't, most of my clients outside of the clinic,
Hmm.
by the way, it took me a while to call them clients because I used to call everyone patients.
But
Because I'm used to call
that was a
people
tough transaction.
patients. Yeah, I'm used to call people's patients like since I don't
That's,
know.
I believe it's the physio mind.
Yes. So I had to learn to start calling them clients. Okay, let's go. So um most of my clients, they have some kind of, let's say, let's call it issue to
Hmm.
improve. Okay. So I use the Pilates as a tool, but I include also some useful exercises for them, uh, with also the PT brain a little bit, so a pinch.
Hmm.
So there's the Pilates mindset there, the base, okay, the foundation, but I would add a little bit of something else as well, if that's interesting for them, of course. So
I
we
see.
cannot think, I don't think actually, oh, I'm just prescribing exercises. No, what are her goals? Is there a lower back pain she's recovering from? Is she, I don't know, recovering from another problem,
Hmm.
or she's completely fit and healthy now, and what are her goals, so we need to see everything in the picture. But the Pilates one is in the middle, like, can you wait a bit, can you just stop fighting? It's
Let's have a word.
exactly like that.
Just take a breath.
It's exactly like that. So I use Pilates as a tool in both scenarios for sure, and I love it.
Wonderful. So it's like, let's say, your peace card between the two extremes.
Yeah, yeah.
Monique, tell me,
Exactly.
like, in general, like from your experience, how can we call someone is living a healthy life? Is it only stricted to eating and training? Or are we misusing the term and it has more to it? Like, how would you identify someone as being healthy?
Okay. So, I would not say it's just the, let's say, the lack of disease. There is
Mhm.
nothing going wrong with this person, but we need to consider. Um, I think I have here just a second. Where is that? With the World Health Organization. So,
Mhm.
health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social
Mhm.
well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity.
Mhm.
Uh, so, with, let's say, with that being said, again, we need to consider that person, as a whole human being. We
Mhm.
cannot consider um, just a knee or just a lower back, you know.
Mhm.
Is he eating well? No. Why not? Because no time, because too much work. Okay, so is the water intake going well? Is he having a social life? That's also
Uh-huh.
important. How is her family environments, like the home environments? Is it a healthy, balanced one? Is there anything going on in his family or
Mhm.
marriage or whatever? Or there's a problem with a kid? So we need to always consider that. So there's no such thing like, okay, you eat healthy, you train, you're fit, you're good to go, you have no diseases, nothing, no infirmity, you're healthy. um
Uh-huh.
is she having a social life? Is she having friends? Is she seeing people? Because at the end of the day, we were also supposed to see people, to have friends, to go socializing, and to have that balance.
Very true.
Are you happy at work as well? you know.
Hmm.
It plays a big role if you're happy at work or not, because it's a good chunk of your day you're working. Well, you're supposed to be.
True.
It's a good
30% of the
chunk.
day.
Yeah, it's a good chunk of the day that you're working. So it's is the happiness there happening? So yeah, this is really the balance. So we for sure we cannot consider a fit person a healthy one. What is
Hmm.
behind that? For sure, for sure, is the whole thing.
Very true. Like, because, for example, you get people who tell you that, hey, for example, Monique, we eat well, we train every day, we try doing everything right. However, for example, we're not improving and we're not seeing results and we still feel incomplete. But as you mentioned, it has like a lot of variables in this equation because usually people are narrow tunnels, like they have this narrow vision tunnel in
Hmm.
this scenario where they think only that eating, training will do the job. However, they neglect the social life, they neglect the stress levels, they neglect what makes them humans, in a sense.
Exactly. And as I said, it's most of the time, it's not about overtraining, it's about underresting.
Mhm.
For sure. That is for sure. To go overtraining, you have to be an athlete living an athlete's lifestyle.
Mhm.
If you're not an athlete, um, you are most probably underresting because there
Mhm.
is work, there is family, there is social that we need to consider.
True.
So even if you go working out to switch off the brain from the stress, you're underresting. So it's vicious cycle again, for sure.
Moni, I have a question like that just crossed my mind. You started in Brazil, correct?
Yes.
Have you faced, let's say, similar issues with clients or like similar norms of behavior in Brazil compared to the UAE? Or do you think that the environment plays a role in the problems that you face to solve with the clients?
Okay. So there is um big like there's a gap. I could not, it doesn't fit in the screen here, the size of the gap.
Okay, I'll give you from my side. Okay, I'll do also another gap.
There is a big gap. Whenever we're talking about cultural differences, um, let's start with my day one at my first job here in Dubai.
Mhm.
How do we greet people in Brazil? Like, first time patient, never met her, first time she's coming to the clinic, and how do I greet her? Um, like, Maria? Okay. So I hug her and I give her a kiss on the cheek.
Uh,
Guess what I did on my day one?
I don't want to guess, and especially that maybe that was like a while back also, so it have
Yes.
been might have been even more awkward.
Yeah. So 8 years ago, 8 years ago, my first patient, she was a British lady, very serious, and me like, hey, how are you today? Let's go do it. Hug and kiss. She was frozen, completely frozen, and she's like, that was very Brazilian. And I was like, oh my God, did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Anyway, so later on, I learned, Monique, there is this cultural difference. You should avoid to, well, like 8 years ago, it was different from today, even. So just slow down, push the brakes a bit from the Latina, I'm like, okay. So that was the first uh gap, I would say. But
Uh,
anyway, that was a funny story I had to
that was
share.
like a welcome to the UAE story.
Yeah, that was you know. So okay. So what I see difference, the activities, sports, and actually being active and moving is really in the routine in Brazil
Mm,
among the Brazilians. I wasn't even born. It was there already. People go to the beach 5 a.m. to do some exercise, to go for a run, to do some functional training on the sand.
yeah.
5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever, you know, to to play volleyball, to play football, to do whatever. To go cycling. It doesn't
Mm,
matter. They will do some movement. So it's very easy for them. Okay, so you do this kind of exercise, blah blah blah, done. It's it doesn't require a lot of, okay, let's learn this. Why is this important to you? So all this, if I can call it
mm,
lecture, but not actually lecturing, but it required some skills, let's say, if I can call it skills,
mhm.
that wasn't actually required back in the days in Brazil. So I
I
really
see.
had to adapt a lot, not only my greetings, but also my treatment approach with the people here, because it's not very common, it's not very obvious for them that they need to exercise.
Mm,
Exercise can be a taboo still, uh,
mhm.
even if it's not anymore for active people. It can still be a taboo for example, back in the days in this first clinic, I used to see a lot of local old ladies.
Mhm.
Um, how will I do some movements with them? So I
Yeah.
cannot call it exercise. I didn't even call the movements exercises. I asked, "Oh, how are the movements going? Could you do your movements?" Yeah. So I really had to
Movements.
adapt in this way. And yeah, so I would say that most of the difference is this one. So the greetings and the treatments approach. But of course, a lot of good learning. Oh my God. And being here as well,
Yeah.
because we are surrounded by so many cultures, uh, so many different people with so
Very
many
true.
different backgrounds, so many different backgrounds, so many different beliefs, um, misconceptions, um,
True.
you know, and oh, there's a firework going on here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I saw that. I neither I know what's happening, but hey, okay,
You
fireworks.
gonna do anything?
It's a happy gesture.
Yeah. So I really had to understand a bit, because I had to adapt my Brazilian brain to work with people from all over the world here.
Hmm.
Like, what is important to her? What is important to him? You
Hmm.
know, in her culture, in his culture. What does it mean to do this exercise for him or for her?
Hmm.
So that is really, I see it as the biggest difference actually.
Lovely. Actually, the fact that you have to teach people over here the importance of physical activities is something which people may not pay attention to, but the fact that you didn't have to do that in Brazil because it's part of the culture tells you a
Yeah,
lot about why, for example, a culture is healthier or not.
yes.
Because,
Well,
like, yeah, tell me.
yeah. So, well, of course, not 100% of the country is active, but it's
Hmm.
very common that you see a lot of active people, and
I see.
it's easy to see fit people around, like very fit. Um, I will never forget that I saw a woman from the back. I was at the grocery shop and I saw a woman from the, oh wow, there's a one piece, gym gym outfit, only one piece.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a very good outfit. That's a cool one and nice body. Wow. She turned around, she was like 75. The face. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So it's not difficult to find those things in Brazil. And here it goes on the opposite direction. But what
True.
was booming in Brazil for a long time ago, it's starting to boom now. The active life, the fitness,
Mhm.
the exercise, being worried about health, what should I eat, what should, so yeah.
Like everyone that I've spoken to on the podcast, everyone, all type of doctors from any background, they always say that physical activities, what you eat, stress levels, sleeping, and hydration are the essential things to take care of
Yes,
your mind and body.
yes,
It's easy to say, but like applying it with everything that is in life, with everything that goes around, is what differentiates between those who can and those who can't. Those who can overcome these with the current day situation, and those who surrender and, let's say, be absorbed by the stress of life and neglect it, are the ones who suffer.
yes,
It's a tough equation.
yes, it is. And for example, there is there is one treatment for everybody. If I can really be like generalizing here like crazy, but
Hmm.
there is one treatment for everybody. Live a healthy, balanced lifestyle,
Yes.
which means exercise regularly. You don't need to hammer yourself every day, 2 hours a day, forever. No, I'm not saying that. Um, let's say, um, how much is it? 150 minutes. 150. Okay, 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours a week.
Uh-huh.
If you spread this all like through the days and you're doing some movement, some kind of activities like half an hour Pilates per day, you're good. You're
True.
healthy, right?
True.
If you're eating, if you're taking care of what you eat, for example, why do you put the best petrol in your car and you don't put the best food in your body?
Yes.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Of course, we have the parties and the celebration times. These are exceptions. The thing is,
Hmm.
most of the people they do the exceptions to become a routine, and this is
Yes.
where it doesn't go so well. If you're active, if you're eating nutritious food, if you're sleeping well, if you are happy at work, if your mental health is going well, if the whole environment at your home is flowing well as well. So
Yeah.
this is actually the treatment. The treatment is the lifestyle. The
Hmm.
treatment is the lifestyle. So, oh, there is a maneuver. I want you to crack my back and then I go back to sports. It's not
Yeah.
like this that works.
True.
It's not like that. I can
Very
crack
true.
your
Very true.
back. I can, do physio maneuvers. We can do some, if I can, easy words again, muscle activation, this or that. But
Yeah.
the whole lifestyle is what it counts, really.
Monique, thank you so much for this message. I agree with you 100%. I think that living a balanced lifestyle is the optimal way for everyone to apply and live a healthier life. You don't have to live on an extreme because being on the extreme, you will definitely be sacrificing things in your life. And
Yes.
sometimes if somebody want to sacrifice things, that's where they would be asking, oh, is it really worth it? However, having the balance and the harmony, I think is the way for people to go along with this flow.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with you 100% on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think at the end of the day, all the healthcare providers, um, we end up merging to the same core answer.
Mhm.
Of course, I'm not ignoring it depends, but also the lifestyle is what it counts, is what
Mhm.
you do every day. Are you helping yourself? Are you helping, let's say, Monique? Is Monique helping the future Monique? Or is
Yes,
Monique actually not helping at all the future Monique? That's it.
I
um,
see.
we need to think, to simplify things, because I feel like people always go to a, what's the shortcut? How to
Yes,
lose weight in a fast way? How do
yes.
I fix this problem in my knee? Come on, it's your job. You're the physio. You have to fix my knee in one session. It's
Well, I
complicated.
said I'm a physio, not a magician.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the whole scenario. It's the lifestyle. It's, this is what counts. This is the core thing. So what I'm happy is all the healthcare providers, they agree on this. And this is the most important thing, actually, is the routine, is what you do every day repeatedly with consistency. Do you have consistency in um, putting good petrol in your body, or the consistency goes the opposite direction?
Mhm.
So yeah, the consistency with the exercise. So it's better for you to do 20 minutes, half an hour of something every day or almost every day than nothing. So I'm even worried about, those people doing, we have that a lot in Brazil, okay? Those guys that play football only on Sunday, once a week. But it's 2 hours football match. And you just said 2.5 hours per week. So 2 hours match in one day. It's not the same as having a half an hour session of something repeatedly
Yes,
throughout the
yes.
week. It's so not the same.
The consistency plays a role.
Yes.
Just like learning a skill. You cannot,
Yes.
for example, cramp learning a language in one day compared to practicing it every day.
Oh, tell me about it. That was my struggle, actually, because everything that I learned, well, not everything, but the university was in Portuguese. Everything was in Portuguese until I came to Dubai. Everything was in Portuguese.
Uh-huh.
And my first job, I was surrounded by English native speakers.
Yeah.
All of them. I was the only one. So imagine I was that crazy Latina hugging the UK patients. I was that crazy Latina in the middle of the meeting saying, "Guys, please, can you repeat? What are we talking about actually?" There was a
Like, what
British,
did you say?
come on, there was a British guy, there was a South African girl, there was a Kiwi, a guy from New Zealand, eventually joined us, an Irish, and I was like, okay.
Add salt to the wound.
So I have to switch how many buttons here in this meeting according to the accents. And I learned the American English. So I'm like, okay, let's do this.
At least it's in English.
Like, you know? So yeah, that was good learning. The first job in Dubai, I
That
had
must have
some
been
story to
fun.
tell.
Maybe not back then, but now it's funny. I'm pretty sure that
Oh
it
yeah,
wasn't funny as much as
yeah.
now.
So that was me learning a new language. So they taught me loads about English and physiotherapy as well, of course. I think we learn a lot because we're surrounded by different cultures and with a
Yeah.
different routine in a different country. It's so much going on and so much learning that I was learning, but at the same time, I could feel that I was having headaches very often. So, and I was immersed, like inside of, um, there was no Brazilian there for me to, you know? So, for me to express, I would have to express myself in English, and that was a struggle. So, yeah, but
Really, I
for
can
sure they did a
understand.
good job, I think. Hopefully.
Monique, this is so lovely. Thank you so much for your time today. This has been a wonderful conversation. I appreciate your time heavily and all the information that you shared with us and your experience. You're a wonderful person. Thank you so much. I wish you
Thank you.
nothing but
Pleasure.
happiness.
More than a pleasure. More than a pleasure. All I can say, I'm very grateful and thankful for this opportunity, actually. I was very, let's say, thrilled and delighted with this invitation. I was like, oh my God, am I gonna make it? Am I gonna survive?
Well, you made
But
it. How was
anyway,
it? I think it was fun.
yeah, I just decided to be myself, you know. So
Yes.
I'm this clumsy and kind of clown side of me. So this is who I am. So
I think like everyone, if they are put in an environment where they are just their true self, this is where like true genuinity and good talks happen. So
cool.
your personality is wonderful. So as you mentioned, like the being fun personality is just wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Have a
The
wonderful
thank you
day,
comes
Monique.
from me.